Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Nafurahi sana kuona wazee wenzangu mmekalia kikao hiki. Wale ambao wako zaidi ya miaka 80, hebu nione kwa mkono. Onyesha kwa mkono. Makofi kwao. Wale wako zaidi ya miaka 70, nione kwa mkono. Praise the Lord. Wale wako zaidi ya 60, tuone kwa mkono. Hata kule nyuma. Asante sana. Ningependa nimesahau wengine. Okay, wale katika 50. 50 wako. 40. Mbona sioni 40? 30 basi. 30 huko nyuma. 20. 10. Moja mpaka 10 mpaka 9. Hata naona wengine wanafanya namna hiyo huko nyuma. Asante sana. Na hiyo yote ni maendeleo. Ama namna gani? Na hiyo yote is growth. I was just being reminded that you young people who are here, I think this is a very good day, not just for those who are wearing this vitambas, but specifically for you, that you will get where we are at some point. And when you do get here, my challenge to you, and I hope I'll be there, I'll just have come back, I think. Hamtaki nirudi? Sitakuwa nimerudi. So those of you who are still on that production chain, the name Kikaya is just K-I-K-A-Y. Simtaniita jina? You see, they are still productive. So I was told to talk for just about 10 minutes. And I'd like the people in the projection to please project Jeremiah 29:11, if you can find it, and those who have their Bibles can turn to it. That's going to be my guiding message today. Jeremiah 29:11. And I hope that clock is correct so that I can take the few minutes that I've been given. Who has found it? If you can please stand and read for us. Someone can give them the microphone.
It's up there on the screen, Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
Amen. I know the plans that I have. God knew the plans that He had prepared for you, and specifically for Quakers, to be where we are. He does not tell you that it's going to be easy to get there, but He tells you that journey will not harm you. And even if it appears to be harming you, He'll stand with you along that road. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. So we have come from a very long way, and I'm mindful of the time factor, and I'll go very quickly. But those of you who like to get some more details, I'll still be around and perhaps we can discuss. Let me contextualize what I'm going to present to you. Unajua kama mwalimu unaongea katika vipengele, nafikiri pasa huwa wanafanya namna hiyo vile vile. Nataka kuongea katika kipengele cha kwanza is the context in which this place was established, a historical one, a colonial one. Then I'll come to the context where we started now what I may call multiracial worship. And during that section, I'll walk you through where we were before where we are right now. And then I want also to highlight what exactly this place stood for in the context of the Quaker peace testimony. Senior Pastor, I want to challenge you, as much as we have Quaker values here, we have what we call the Quaker peace testimony. The Quaker peace testimony is actually what you may call our philosophy. If someone asks you, why are you a Quaker, not a Baptist, not a Pentecostal, not a Salvationist? If you look at the Quaker peace testimony, it's just a one paragraph. You can get it in the silent worship room, magnify it, and print it out like this, that can be here as our guiding principle. But I also want to challenge the pastoral team and even the leaders that when you do address friends here, please ensure that you mention something about our faith and practice. Because we have a very clear Quaker faith and practice. These people who are growing up, they may not have gone to the theological college in Kaimoso or wherever to learn about Quakerism and what makes them Quakers. We have very clear Quaker principles which distinguish us from just ordinary church goer. I'll not go into that. If you want to talk about that at some other point, I'll come prepared for that. So this place, those of you who are above 60 will understand that Kenya went through a very discriminatory stage during the colonial period. So that to be able to be found in this kind of environment, you had to carry something they called kipande. That's why opposite the post office, there is a building called Kipande House. And now it is, unaikumbuka? Yeah, it's not, it didn't just come from Kipande ya shamba ama Kipande ya mkate. Yeah? It's because you had to carry this Kipande, this identity, for you to be found in certain areas, even within the town, to go beyond Queen Street. How many people know Queen Street? What is Queen Street now? Tom Mboya Street. To go beyond Tom Mboya Street, you had to say why you are crossing to come to this other side of the world. It was as good as that. Ask me why I'm saying it was as good as that. So imagine if that was the case, what about to be in this area? So whether you are Quaker or not, you had your members, if they are not white, so-called white. Can you imagine someone looking like this? He call himself white. I'd rather be called black. That you could not be found in this area. And try as they did. And by the way, how many of you know a club called United Kenya Club? United Kenya Club, unaifahamu? Do you know that Quakers were amongst the first, because of the agitation for multiracialism, to help in putting up United Kenya Club? It was the only place where Africans, it had to be registered as such, so that everybody could meet at that place called United Kenya Club. And the Quakers were amongst the founders of that. So, to avoid squabbles with the colonial government, friends, especially Europeans, initially used to meet in town. There was a building called Rhodes House. I don't exactly know what it is, but I'm told it later on became Agriculture House or something, or off Harambee Avenue, where the European friends used to meet. British friends especially used to meet in silent worship, because that is their way of worshiping. So I wind the clock very fast. This place here used to be owned by a very rich Arabic Persian merchant. And it came on the market, and basically European friends that time, European American, that time took the step to buy these premises. And I recall in that particular time, African Friends, we used to meet at a place called Friends Center of Fafa. And Friends Center of Fafa has a very good history, which your time will not allow me to go into. It actually was a way that Quakers were demonstrating the peace testimony that I was referring to. Because Quakerism, apart from being a Christian philosophy, believes in the total person. You cannot evangelize a person unless you take care of the mazingira of that particular person. But I think this one, you people know it better than myself. So Friends Center of Fafa was established initially as a place where African Quakers, Africans could meet, more so African Quakers, friends, but also as a rehabilitation center, so that people who were coming from Mau Mau war or from prison, they would come there and learn some kind of trade of sorts. Those of you who remember that time, you know that we had a very big industrial complex at that place with machines, woodwork, metalwork. I remember Mzee called Njenga being in charge of, he didn't have to be a Quaker, being in charge of that rehabilitation. Together with it, Quakers also had a prison ministry. Pastor, I don't know whether we still have prison ministry. Just say yes, because last week I was attending the NCCK Council, and they said, how many churches have prison service? Friends, you know, so please just say friends. And then Omega, you asked them to pray for me because I've confessed. We said that. But if we don't have a prisons ministry, give it very serious thought, just as much as you have. Because that Quakers have always had prison ministry from the time when it was formed in the 1600s. So, African Friends, we used to meet at Ofafa. Remember the days of Walter Martin as the warden dinner. Nathan Luwai came and took over. Then we had another friend from Cabres, I can't remember his name now, also came and took over from Nathan when Nathan Luwai was transferred here as the warden. And that then brings me to explain why these two buildings. The Passion fellow I referred to, oh my God, time is rushing, was polygamous. So that was the house of the bigger wife, and the one which you see here was the one for the younger wife. So when Quakers took over, this one became the warden's house, and the bigger one was actually our worship house. So we had, basically this was silent worship center. But we had Quakers who were working for the white people in these urban areas. And the concern was that where would they also worship? And also we had other Quakers who were of Kiwango Ambacho, who were living in this area. So they began coming here. And I remember the Quakers was there kama mnakumbuka Kona, Mugofu, Ombajo, those names ring a bell. Yeah, you know, they would be working from Zungu throughout the night, and then the following day they prepare, and we began a very small program meeting parallel to the center of worship. So those in the silent worship would finish, then, no, actually the program would come first, finish, then at around 10, silent worship takes over. Then there was space between the big house and the small house, because the number of programmed friends just began growing. And we used to sit, we arranged chairs in the open, Occasionally, if some friend donated a tent, some of us didn't know what a tent is. We just knew Madandore was a very bad man, a policeman who used to go around in cars. Remember that sort of Madandalua? Some of you would. So we had a tent here in between the two houses for worship. And within no time, we outgrew that tent. And what was sad that to see the commitment of those friends, and this is why I'm now addressing the young people who are here. Come rain, come sunshine, they would faithfully come, some with umbrellas because they didn't come early enough to get a seat inside the tent, stand outside there, and Okinakona will preach, and we finish. So we say to ourselves, no, this can't go on. Then we built a wall, we put a flat roof on it, and we began worshiping there in some kind of, if you like to call it, comfort. But again, within no time, there you didn't even need a bell to come to church because come as if I don't go early, I'll find myself sitting outside. Then the place again just boomed. So we came back on the drawing board. And I remember the Malenya and his good wife, Malenya is an engineer, his wife was also an engineer. They sat together with the other friends, the Indires, the Shitemis, the Asiamas, etc. But some of us were just what Mkono at that particular time. I mean, I tell these people who are once young, they may not believe it. So the committee to build this was constituted. And at times we need to give credit to our friends who have left us. Malenya, thank God he's still with us. Alfred Lulu, thank God he's still with us. Engineer Waudo, God bless his soul, he left us. Were amongst the people who sat and said, no, we can do this thing ourselves. So they designed this, they oversaw its construction. Now to digital layer, friends, you can imagine what our salaries were at that time, what it was. Lakini marafiki walijitolea with minimal, I like to say, assistance from abroad. And we put up this sanctuary. Don't you like it? Si makofi kwetu. So this is briefly how we are here. But now, in the next 5 minutes, let me just make some highlights of what this place stood for. This center stood for a truly multiracial and multicultural center. And that's how it got the name Friends International Center. So that friends who are traveling from wherever, they would come here. And it was the practice that time to leave this sanctuary open throughout the week, to leave the small meeting that we are using now for silent worship open, so that if any Quaker is traveling, they can come, commune, and continue with their journey. Come around the 70s, specifically 1974, just after I had graduated, friends were magnanimous enough to invite me to come and join the staff of this center to start the full-time office of the Friends World Committee for Consultation. Before that time, John and Alma, the ones who were the warden, were running it on an off and on. When Nathan and Phoebe Levi came, they took it up to the next level, but then they got me to come and now run it as on a full-time basis. If I have ever faced challenges in my life, that was it. The first challenge was this. At that time, as graduates, jobs who are looking for you, not you looking for jobs. My colleagues went in Kenya Airways, Railways, Post and Telecommunication, and they were given houses, upper hill, flats where. Then I make the mistake to come and say I want to work for Quakers. Ati Mungu ameniita. Si mnasikia akisema hivyo? So I come here, and the Quakers take me to, oh sorry, I should not say. Because I don't have good friends who also live there now. But at that time, the opportunities were there. But I have never regretted a bit for devoting myself to the service of God and helping to contribute to the growth and, importantly, protection of this place. Protection of this place. Why am I saying so? Those of you who are there during the Kenyatta era, you know that there was a clique in the Kenyatta who they just came and told you, thank you for staying in this house for long enough. Can you, mnakumbuka wakati huo? So I was here one day in the office, and in the days of the Pujo 504, when it was the end thing. And the 504 is what you hear people talking about. Mnaongea sasa juu ya ni Subaru ama ni Subaru ama ni gani? You are the ones who have said it's Subaru. Mimi sijui Subaru. Sina tembeleanga magari ile ingine ya. So I just saw that car come in, and I mentioned to the secretary who was there, hey, this kind of cars are. Then I just went to my office. My office actually was at the back of the main house, what used to be one of the bedrooms. And these guys came and asked the secretary if they could see the bwana mkubwa of the place. And the secretary, in her own wisdom, told them, you have not met him. He's just left just right now. You know, there are some lies, please, pastors, you forgive us. Ama namna gani? You just forgive us. So they went. And when I came back, she was really trembling. For two reasons. One, she feared what would have happened to me. She also feared what would have happened, of course, to herself in this center. And those days is when you used to hear about Gong Road, not Gong Road, what is it? Gong, disappearances. That was the first attempt to grab this place. The second attempt was someone who came up with an accusation that since this place was established, we had not been remitting taxes. I think some of you remember that story. And they blamed us with a very big bill to pay tax, but council tax. But the idea was, obviously we are going to default. And we were very few here. So fortunately, we had some friends in influential offices who helped us to protect this place. The third thing I want to highlight here, as I go towards finishing, you remember in the late 60s and early 70s, we had a lot of turbulence in this region. So we had refugees from Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Ethiopia, Somalia. And one day, I woke up and walked here and found the compound completely inundated with people. Young, old, women, young men, they were refugees. And how did they get here? Some of them had walked throughout the night and had met people who told them there's a place called Friends Center. Mahali ya nani? Ya marafiki. So they knew if you go to Friends Center, you will get friendship. And we had nothing, literally. That's something that never occurred to us. Because our committee was just about 3-4 people. I was the only civil servant of Quakers here. So I convened quickly a meeting of our chair, Philemon Ndire. He came, and the others, Dr. Shitemi. And on the goodwill of the name of Quakers, we just picked the phone, called the American embassy, the British American embassy, the Australian embassy. Without going to a long story, I'm being told to wind up, so I must stop. By the afternoon, lorries were queuing here with the mattresses, with the blankets, with biscuits, with the bread, whatever, to help feed these people. The following week, we received those people and we took them to various institutions of Western, a school like Igunga, those of you who know it. There's another school at Musingo, if you go to Musingo of girls here on the left. What's that girls' school? If you go to Musingo High School, Lirembe, yeah, Lirembe and Liranda, and those, we took those young people who were amongst the refugees to those schools. The doctors, we took them to our various institutions, Kaimosi, Lugolo, there's another place in South Maragoli called Lianagenga, and I'm saying God simply opened chances for us to do that out of the blue. And this is the recommendation I want to leave behind as I'm going. I know you have the Quaker Investment Company. I have no quarrel with it, but I must confess I don't support it. Quakers should have built on that goodwill to form a Friends charitable organization, an NGO that would have been powerful and would have helped us all united as friends throughout Kenya. Similar to the American Friends Service Committee in America and the Friends Service Council in England and Friends Service Committee in Australia. Then we can be able to use that as a channel, both as an NGO and a charitable status. Talking about the NCCK conference we just finished, the council has been able to get the government now. You know, the government had withdrawn certain NGO tax-exempt status from various church organizations because our churches started getting Shakahola type. But the council has just been, has been able to get that reinstated. And this charitable organization, and I still hope that it will come to be a dream come true, would enjoy that status, and friends, you can do quite a lot through those kind of, that kind of setup. So I'll leave it there. I cannot say I have finished, but I'll just stop there and say that we have come from a long way, but I think what remains is a very bright future for us. And one of the other confessions I want to make, and a challenge I want to leave to you all friends, and especially us in the leadership position. Quakers have a very clear system of changing offices. And I'm saying this with a lot of bitterness. I'll not have a chance to say this again here. When it comes to the time of leadership changes, and this is why we are different, Quakers have a very clear path. It is called nomination. What is it called? And we have a nomination committee. From the village, monthly meeting, quarterly meeting, that time regional meeting to the yearly meeting. When you are appointed as a member of the nomination committee in your church, in your village church, you should be a person of utmost sincerity, beyond retrieve. And the people you go and consider, you must pray about it and let the good Lord answer the prayer. And God is a God of mercy, and God answers prayer, I believe. The problems you see in our churches is because we have ignored the principles of nomination. And the good Lord perhaps will have taken me. I'll not be there when you start doing elections to get officials, or when you start lobbying to get appointed in a particular position. So friends, if there's any, you can ignore everything that I've said here today, but I want to appeal to you that let's reinstate the path of nomination. It differentiates us from the Pentecostals who fight for positions amongst these other church groups. May the Lord bless those who have listened to me.